So that's it. We have our scan. Let's go and generate a report. So we should learn how to generate reports. It's in this menu. It says reports. We can generate reports in multiple formats. Again, which is unique to Nexpose, of course. You can create detailed technical reports. You can create executive summary reports or remediation reports and stuff like that. So there's a lot of customization going on in here. We say create report, we say exploitables 3 Win and Linux, something like this, Win and Lin. So let's have this capital format. And always it is a good idea to have dates on your files. So 03-June-2021. So that will be the name. This is the formats that I talked about. So see all, you see, if you hover on each of these, you will see the explanation provides comprehensive details about discovered assets, vulnerabilities, and users. We have other types. Executive overview provides a high-level view of the security data, including general results, information and statistical charts. High-risk vulnerabilities will be in this report. So you see compliance status, policy details. One of my favorites is this one, top remediation with details. If you are working with a customer in a penetration testing or vulnerability scanning project, you can go with this because it will tell you very quickly what to do in order to remedy the vulnerabilities. I mean, it is really quick. It really fits the project. So that's my experience. In situations that you are scanning thousands of services and servers, and there is hundreds of thousands of vulnerabilities, this is the place to go for. I mean, it will tell you, for example, 100 lines of best practices or operations that you should do to fix all those 100,000 vulnerabilities. So this is really great. This is what you need in your projects. Anyway, our purpose here is to exploit some of these vulnerabilities, and I wanted you to see this vulnerability scanner because it's really cool. For the production projects or production usage, you can buy this product, or for your laboratory in here, you can just use the evaluation. So OpenBAS is great, Nexpose is also great. And here we work with Nexpose, of course. So select the scan. You see I had multiple scans that ran into problems, so stopped by hackers. And this scan is the one that was successful. So totally manageable. Save and run the report. So it will generate a report for us momentarily with a lot of pages. So I've already generated one before. I can use this. And this is the one I told you about, top vulnerabilities with remediation details. So let's see how it is. So this is the audit report that we are generating. I have already generated this one because it takes some time. And this is the top 25 remediations by risk. So you see, in here it says upgrade the Linux. So sudo apt update, upgrade, this upgrade, something like that, will fix 271 vulnerabilities. If you upgrade TCP dump package, it will fix 161 vulnerabilities. So upgrade to the latest version of PHP will fix 106 vulnerabilities for you. Upgrading Jenkins to the version this, again, about 100 vulnerabilities are fixed. TLS, if upgrade Jenkins TLS to this version, again, a lot of vulnerabilities are fixed. So you see, if you update your WordPress, again, 90 vulnerabilities are fixed. So this is how you can quickly fix the top important or vulnerabilities with the highest risks with the quickest time possible when you are facing big companies and you want to do vulnerability scans. So that's it. But if you had time, or if the vulnerabilities was not that big, the number of the vulnerabilities was not that big, you can go to the audit details. So you see here we have 8,100 pages for this report. It's a detailed report. It will talk about various statistics, the number of the vulnerabilities, how they are shared on the services, and then it says discovered and potential vulnerabilities. Critical vulnerabilities, it starts to list them. And then after that, it will be high vulnerabilities, medium vulnerabilities, low vulnerabilities, and then the info, I think. And beneath every one of these categories, we have the CVEs, we have the vulnerabilities explained, what nodes are affected, what CVEs are possible to address for this vulnerability. You see, especially crafted environment variables can be used to inject shell commands. So this is how vulnerability analysis are done. You do research about the CVE and then you go for the exploitation. And not all the vulnerabilities have, or the CVEs have POCs or exploit codes publicly. So the ones that have, you can use for proof of concept and get access from your customer, of course, when you are authorized to do that. So that's how the detailed report with, you see, additional information in here, it's presented to you. So you see this vulnerability here says default administrator password vulnerability in here, and it says on this address it was possible to log in with admin, and it says welcome to access to administrator console was seen. So that's the proof that the vulnerability exists. So that's how this 8,000 pages are going on. It's a really big report. So in the next part, we will exploit some of these vulnerabilities to get access on the target with Metasploit or other frameworks, and then we go for some post-exploitation modules. Okay, now the vulnerability scan is done, the report generation is done. As you recall, we generated 2 reports with various formats. One of them was top vulnerabilities with remediation details. So see, applying 25 remediations, which will remediate 51% of the vulnerabilities and 52% of the risks. 41% of the vulnerabilities have published exploits. This is really important when you are talking to your customer or to your clients. They should know that 41% of their vulnerabilities in their environment have public exploit codes, which means they are easily exploitable on the public. So that's as clear as that. Everyone can download the exploit code and use it against them. So this is what you should explain to them. And 24% of the vulnerabilities that have malware kits also will be fixed, affecting 2 assets here. So we have the remediation, the number of the assets, and the vulnerabilities that will be fixed, and the rest of the items in here. So first, if you upgrade your Linux, 271 vulnerabilities will be fixed. If you upgrade TCP dump, if you do upgrades up to here, we have reviewed these items, but just again, so you see, if you do remediation on these 2 pages, it's only 2 pages. The number of the patches with their KB number, so you can download from Microsoft, will fix half of the vulnerabilities for you. So this is really great when you are facing a lot of vulnerabilities and you don't have time to work on all of them. So you will fix the top 25 vulnerabilities with remediation details. So if you go down, for example, this item, it says download it from this address and install the patch. For Linux, the command will be apt-get upgrade to upgrade kernel to the latest version. So details are also provided to us. But here we seek exploitation. The other report, which is audit report with a lot of details in here, it's about 8,000 pages. Don't afraid the number of the pages, because there are a lot of explanations, resources, references to other resources on the internet. So that's why this document is so big. So if I get a report of the vulnerabilities itself, I don't think it will pass 100 pages as a PDF format. So let's see, let's move forward to see what do we have in here. Metasploitable 3, this address. You see it also has the date on it. Executive summary. So the critical vulnerabilities, severe vulnerabilities, and moderate. We call them sometimes critical, high, medium, low. And categories of the vulnerabilities. We have seen these items before. So 2 affected nodes. One is Microsoft, as we know, and the other one is Metasploitable 3 Ubuntu machines. So turn on these machines. We want to exploit them. We will exploit small fraction of all these vulnerabilities on these 2 machines. And again, on our 40-hour course, we exploit all the vulnerabilities. So everything that is exploitable on these 2 machines is going to be exploited there. It is, I think, 2 hours or 3 hours of video just exploiting vulnerabilities. So it's a time-consuming job. You have to read about the vulnerabilities, search on the internet for the CVE, and see how you can exploit it. Some of the vulnerabilities and some of the POCs need some modifications to work. There are some situations and some conditions for them to work. So that's why we have that long videos on that course and this quick videos in here. So the first one is talking about injecting shell commands, and this CVE right here. Let's search it inside where? Inside Metasploit. So run MSF console. This is the console for exploiting vulnerabilities. It has a lot of exploits pre-built into it. Search this CVE. You see multiple items in here. So after a lot of research and try and errors, you come to conclusion that this exploit here is accessible on this target. So the vulnerability is also called shell shock, which is about injecting shell variables to the target. But this time we will inject these variables and get remote code execution via the Apache service here. So use exploit, this item in here, show options. You see we have multiple exploits to use, 2 CVEs in here. It needs the bin path, which is correct on the target. The remote port is 80. The affected system is this address here. So let's open a Chromium or Firefox, go to the port 80 of Apache. If you refer to the nmaps, port 80 is, let me see, let's cat metasploitables dot nmap crypt-i 80. So give me 4 lines after, 4 lines before. I want to see, yeah, 80/TCP. So let's do it like that. TCP clean run. To Control L will clean the page for you. And you see here port 80 on that target is Apache HTTP 2.4.7. So this, chances are this exploit here will work on it. So set remote host, this is correct. It needs us to specify a shell variable, a shell script, path to CGI script on the target. So if you navigate to the target, you see here some PHP files or something like that. But one hidden directory here is called CGI-bin. And if you do some word enumeration, directory enumeration on the target with GoBuster and stuff, you come to this sh file in here. So it's a default file on CGI scripts or on this metasploitable machine. So set target URI. Metasploit is not case sensitive, so I can say target URI. It's in capital form. I can say in lowercase. Show options. The payload is the part that we inject to the target after exploitation. So Linux, interpreter, reverse TCP. This amount of, this is my address or your parrot OS address, and this is the port that the victim will connect to. So here you can see what sessions do you have. So here you can see what sessions you have. Nothing for now. You want to exploit. So that shave will background the job, run it, interpreter session 1, open. So don't look at this that is exploited so easily. There's a lot of try and errors on the background which I cannot film it on this video because it will be somehow make you exhausted. I mean, there is a lot of try and errors when you are working with an exploit. So we decided to just show you the successful ones, but in your journey when you are going after a CVE to find the POC and also to exploit that POC or exploit that vulnerability, you will see how hard that try and errors can be. So that's the nature of this step in ethical hacking. So we have access, we can interact with it, get PID, get processes, get help in interpreter. You can do shell, you get the Linux shell here. So who am I? It says data, which means we are Apache. And from this point, you can go for privilege escalation, which is another concept that is covered in our 40 hours course. But for now, we will background the job or background the session and have it right here. So we got one session from the Linux box. Let's see if we can get a session from the Windows one. So this is CVE, and it says, okay, I ran this command, so it is with credentials, and the output was this, which means this target is vulnerable to this specific vulnerability. So again, code execution via crafted environment variables. You can search CVEs, you can search names inside Metasploit. There's another tool called, so I want to introduce to you the search exploit. So with search exploit, you can search for various exploits as the name comes out. Search exploit, for example, shell shock. Search exploit is not installed, so you have to install. Search, I think it is in exploit DB package, but let me try this. Exploit DB, we don't have it, so we come back after this is downloaded and installed. As this is getting downloaded, let's go to exploit DB website itself. So this is a place to search for exploits, and also Google is a place to search for exploits. So for example, this one here, let me copy this here, exploit. With a simple search inside Google, you will be redirected to a lot of pages that you can use. So here it is, exploit DB, which I was about to do search on. So I can search on various things in here. Here's the search. So we should search in CVE, search. You see these items are available. But this one right here, we can interact with, or we can search in Google, very simple. Here's the code you can use to exploit the removed target. I think it is written in Python. Yes, it is in Python. Anyway, it's doing some imports for creating sockets and stuff. Again, in our Applied Ethical Hacking and Rules of Engagement course, we have Python hacking also. You will be capable of writing exploit codes, injection tools, brute force tools, some simple malwares, CNCs and stuff like that. So Python is also included in that course. Let's continue. Let's see what else do we have. Let's see if we can exploit our Windows target. So this is our Windows target. It's talking about access default administrative password. The access to administrator admin has password that's set to default, which is access to. It's on port 8282. Let's see. Here it is, this port. Yeah, let me copy this. Copy link address right here. So admin access to nothing, admin access to, and we are logged in. The previous time I put uppercase A, but it was lowercase. So anyway, let's see if we can exploit it. Let's search for this access to see what it is. So search exploit is now available because exploit DB is installed. We can search for various packages. Search exploit access to. It says local file inclusion is another vulnerability. It's a web vulnerability. Admin session fixation, again, web application vulnerability. Authenticated code execution via REST, Metasploit module. And authenticated code execution via SOAP, again, Metasploit. So let's go back to Metasploit, search for access to, and we have the module. Here it is. Use this module, show options. The path is access to, correct. Password is this, correct. Port is 8080, correct. Oh, port is 82. So 8282. The username is admin. We don't have SSL, it's HTTP. And Java Metapreter reverse TCP. Let's run it to see if we get a shell. Oh, remote host 192. Yes, this address. Exploit. Successfully uploaded, pulling to see if service is ready. The login to the console was correct, successful. So deleting the jar file. Basically what it does is it logs in to the panel, creates a jar Metapreter shell and uploads it on target, executes it, and then gets a shell in here in a reverse format. So we have a Windows Java Metapreter shell, which we can interact with again. Here, get PID. We don't have get PID. Yeah, we have PS. The shell is not that functional yet, but we can go shell. Here we are. Who am I? You are anti-authority system. Oh, we have admin access. So net user, you see, I can interact with all these users. We have access, full access to the target. So exit from this, Control L, background. So if I get sessions again, you see we have two sessions. One is Meterpreter Linux session with the access of --data, which means Apache access, and with this information here. The other one is Meterpreter Windows Java with the machine account access, which means system authority, with these details in here. So we can show targets, we can show payloads. These are the payloads available. But that's it. That's how you get access on the target based on your vulnerability scan. So another note is Nexpose is much more defender style. I mean, people who are working on defensive security projects such as vulnerability assessment and stuff. But OpenVAS, I think I told you this once in this lecture, but I just wanted to emphasize that because OpenVAS is much more aggressive than Nexpose. It will direct you much more faster to getting access from the target, as opposed to the Nexpose that cares about you finding the most patches, hot fixes, vulnerabilities and stuff. So that's my idea. OpenVAS is much more better when you are in a red team operation or something like that, black box pen test. But when you are on a gray box or white box, it's better to use tools such as Nessus and Nexpose. So let's continue to see what else can we exploit. So we are on Windows 2008 R2. Chances are SMB is vulnerable. Let me search inside here for MS17-010. Yes, it is vulnerable. So it is talking about go and patch this vulnerability, but we can search for this either again via search exploit or Metasploit itself. So search, what was it? MS17-010. You see, the scanner, the other modules are presented, but this is the module that we want to use. Use this, we could say use 2 because the number is 2 here. Show options. You specify the remote host address here, which is 132. We have Windows x64 Meterpreter reverse TCP right here. Let's exploit this vulnerability, which is real famous. That's it. We got the session. So if you get sessions, you see anti-authority system here. It's not a Java Meterpreter, it's a Windows Meterpreter, so we can do hash dump and stuff. So hash dump will dump the hashes of these users. You can do pass the hash, you can do a lot of active directory. If it is connected to a domain controller, you can do a lot of active directory attacks and stuff. So we can load Kiwi, run credzall. You see, we get the passwords of various users. These passwords are testing for Metasploitable 3 and are not that valuable.